People expect quality and class from Mercedes-Benz, and the German company doesn't disappoint. Model after model, Mercedes has put out sleek cars that impress with their performance. One of the things Mercedes-Benz has going for it is the engine. It devotes a lot of resources to engine research and development, and its latest breakthrough promises to leave all its competitors in the dust because they didn't see it coming. What is the new engine by Mercedes-Benz? How does it work? And what does it offer? Join us as we dive into Mercedes' all-new motor that shocks the entire car industry. If you think the internal combustion engine is on its last legs, you may be correct. However, Mercedes-Benz thinks it can still perform wonders in the short time remaining. The auto giant is pushing forth with numerous electrified cars, but it is also killing it when it comes to internal combustion engines. Tracing the history of car engines will take us back to Carl Benz, who developed the first stationary gasoline engine, a one-cylinder two-stroke unit that ran for the first time on New Year's Eve of 1879. Benz had so much commercial success with this engine that he was able to devote more time to his dream of creating a lightweight car powered by a gasoline engine, in which the chassis and engine formed a single unit. The major features of the two-seater vehicle, which was completed in 1885, were the compact, high-speed single-cylinder four-stroke engine installed horizontally at the rear, the tubular steel frame, the differential, and the three-wire spoked wheels. The engine output was 0.75 horsepower or 0.55 kilowatts, a far cry from what the company he founded does today. Details included an automatic intake slide, a controlled exhaust valve, high-voltage electrical vibrator ignition with spark plug, and water thermosiphon evaporation cooling. On January 29, 1886, Benz applied for a patent for his vehicle powered by a gas engine. He was awarded patent number 37435. That patent may be regarded as the birth certificate of the automobile. Months later, in July 1886, the newspapers reported on the first public outing of the three-wheeled Benz patent motor car Model No. 1. A few years later, Benz would patent a double-pivot steering system patented in 1893, thereby solving one of the most urgent problems of the automobile. The first Benz with this steering system was the 3-horsepower or 2.2 kilowatt Victoria in 1893, of which slightly larger numbers with different bodies were built. The world's first production car, with some 1,200 units built, was the Benz Velo the following year, a lightweight and inexpensive compact car. Since the days of its founder, Mercedes-Benz has produced great car engines. For instance, the Compressor 55 AMG supercharged 5.4-litre SOHC 24-valve V8 was a sheer monster. This is the same engine used in the SLR McLaren, which boasted 617 horses under the hood. Mercedes also made the M275 AMG twin-turbocharged 6-litre SOHC 36-valve V12. It's a performance-oriented engine known for its broad application and powers cars from the S65 AMG to the exclusive Maybach. It is one of the most reliable engines under the Mercedes-Benz umbrella and, over the years, has evolved to produce more power than one can imagine without giving away any of the reliability. There is also the 32-compressor supercharged 3.2-litre 18-valve V6. These engines were known for their wide applications. They fitted inside normal sedans with moderate performance capabilities, but could be tuned to do much more. Some AMG models with the 32 compressor were capable of touching speeds up to 155 miles per hour. Then there are the 73 and 70 AMG-only 7.3-litre and 7-litre normally aspirated SOHC 36-valve V12. As the name indicates, these engines were obvious beasts. The 7 and the 7.3 were capable of delivering 496 horses and 525 horses, respectively. With such a rich history of engine development, it's little wonder that Mercedes-Benz has produced the world's most powerful four-cylinder engines. According to the technical details released by the company, the new M139 turbocharged 2-litre inline-4 makes a maximum of 416 horsepower, giving it a specific output of 208.9 horsepower per litre. That makes it the most powerful four-cylinder engine in series production, and its specific output is higher than pretty much every modern supercar. Mercedes has released the engine in two trims, Base and S. The base version makes maximum of 382 horsepower at 6,500 rotations per minute and 354 pound-foot from 4,750 to 5,000 rotations per minute. while the S puts out 416 horsepower at 6,750 rotations per minute and 369 pound-foot from 5,000 to 5,250 rotations per minute. The S generates a bit more boost. It's a whole lot more powerful than the Turbo 4 in the CLA 45, which makes 375 horsepower and 350 pound-foot, and the new engine's 7,200 rotations per minute redline is 500 rotations per minute higher. The engine weighs a claimed 554 pounds when wet. Mercedes changed several things in the new M138 engine compared to its predecessor. For example, while the previous engine was mounted transversely, the new engine breathes opposite. This positions the exhaust manifold and turbocharger at the rear besides the firewall. The intake system is located at the front next to the bumper. With this, Mercedes can design a flatter front section, boosting aerodynamic properties, as well as shorter air ducts with fewer diversions both for the exhaust and the intake. The twin-scroll turbocharger is new and fitted with roller bearings for the first time, reducing mechanical friction so the turbo can spin more easily. Both the turbine housing and the exhaust manifold are divided so the exhaust flow can be separately fed into the turbine. The wastegate is electronically controlled, meaning better responsiveness and more precise control of the intake pressure. Cooling of the turbocharger is done by fresh air, oil, and water. The turbo housing gets air via a ducted engine cover designed like an air deflector. Mercedes swipes the technique from the AMG GT's twin-turbo 4-litre V8. AMG says the M139 has a power delivery akin to a naturally aspirated engine's and a dynamically increasing torque curve. The M139's engine block is made of hill-cast aluminium. This required molten aluminium poured into a water-cooled metallic mold for rapid cooling and solidification. The result is a dense, high-strength structure. AMG says the closed-deck construction is taken from race cars and gives the crankcase an exemplarily rigidity-to-weight ratio and allows for higher peak combustion pressures. The low-friction, high-strength crank assembly consists of a forged steel crankshaft and forged aluminium pistons. The larger sump has baffle plates to reduce the chance of oil starvation in long corners. Like the old engine, the new one uses AMG's nanoslide cylinder coating, which results in a mirror-like finish that gives the cylinder linings minimal friction. The coating was first used on the M156 6.2-litre V8 and is currently used in Mercedes Formula One cars. Mercedes moved the spark plugs and injection nozzles to the cylinder head. This caused the exhaust valves to be enlarged, which lets gases out of the combustion chambers with minimal losses. Dual overhead camshafts control the 16 valves, and the engine has Camtronic variable exhaust valve timing. Like Honda's VTEC, Camtronic uses multiple camshaft profiles, giving the engine full power at high RPM and better response at low RPM in one package. This is the first time AMG will use both port and direct fuel injection for a 4-cylinder engine. The company says it was necessary to achieve the high specific output figure. In the first stage, piezo direct injectors supply fuel to the combustion chambers, and when needed, solenoid port injectors supplement the DI system. There is also a brand new cooling system in the M139 engine. It consists of 2 radiators, one in the wheel arch in addition to the big frontal radiator, as well as an air-to-liquid intercooler. All 3 heat exchangers get their coolant circulated by a variable speed electric pump. The air-cooled ECU is mounted on the housing for the air filter, while the transmission oil is cooled by the engine's coolant circuit and is assisted by a heat exchanger mounted on the transmission. Meanwhile, the engine's electric water pump operates separately from the engine speed, allowing the engine block to warm up more rapidly by activating late. It also operates on demand and can be switched on or off at lower engine speeds as needed. AMG says the new pump ensures full engine output and optimum heat dissipation across the engine's entire range, and that it also protects against heat damage when idling in hot climates. The M139 engine gets a special treatment like AMG's higher-end engines. It is hand-built at AMG's engine factory in Falterbach, Germany, under the one-man, one-engine program. Mercedes built a new production line for the engine, and every technician gets followed by a driverless transport system that has its own power supply and takes the engines and cordless tools from one station to the next. Every engine gets a plaque with the signature of the technician that built it. Let's hear what you think of Mercedes-Benz new M139 4-cylinder engine in the comments section below.